and Isiolo counties have been identified as the top defaulters in the country. Now, the counties account for an average rate of between 47%, which is more than double the national average of 24%. This is according to a latest survey conducted by the Central Bank of Kenya, CBK. The report by the Central Bank of Kenya put Busia, Nandi, Siaya and Nairobi as the counties with the lowest default levels in findings that look to influence lending patterns by banks and digital lenders across the 47 counties. The findings of the household survey by the CBK, FSD Kenya and the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics (KNBS) show that 50.9% of the respondents with a credit defaulted on mobile loans last year, highlighting the effects of an ever-increasing inflation on the purchasing power of majority of Kenyan households. Defaults on credit from neighborhood shopkeepers and Shylocks as well as our family and friends stood at 14%, whereas 41.8% of those owing friends and family defaulted, with a 40.6% and 31.3% owing shopkeepers and Shylocks unable to clear their debts. The report earmarked Marsabit, Garissa and Samburu counties as the counties with the highest levels of a debt distress, with default rates of 74%, 50% and 58% respectively among the adult population. This a clear indication of the impact of drought in the region according to the report. The report also linked the high mobile money penetration in the counties that defaulted heavily to the lack of a brick and mortar services, with Marsabit carrying only 4 commercial banks running 6 branches, with just 5.4% of the population using formal banking services and 2.8% accessing circles. In the same county, mobile money access stood at 77.8%. In Garissa and Samburu, just 0.3% and 17.2% of the respondents use banking services respectively, while 60.7% and 62.9% use mobile money services. Mobile banking and digital loans are issued without collateral, making them vulnerable to default by borrowers. They are also often taken as an emergency measure by cash-strapped Kenyans or on enterprises, hence higher risk of default. Many Kenyans now find that they can get loans in minutes, with the banks relying heavily on algorithms that build a financial profile of customers in the quest to minimize the risk of default. The defaulters also emerge in a period when the state is racing to tackle a heavy debt burden, reduced cash flow, surging costs of living and drought. For Look at Business, Simba, Elijah Charles Kiag. A report by